Greetings, my dear friends. Today, we begin our journey toward true prosperity. What do you understand by wealth? If you look at the world, you'll see that many associate wealth with money, material possessions, fame, or power. However, this view is far from the true definition of wealth. For many, wealth is measured by what we own. However, true wealth is a quality that arises within each of us. True prosperity is not found in the accumulation of material goods, but in the peace that resides in our hearts and the ability to live in harmony with our deepest being. I want you to stop for a moment and reflect. How do you define wealth? Is it in the things you own, or is it in the internal state of happiness and balance that you carry within? True wealth is that state of fulfillment that doesn't depend on external conditions. It's a quality you can cultivate from within. You can be rich without possessing great material wealth, but if your mind is at peace, your heart is tranquil, and you feel gratitude for every experience life offers you, then you already possess true wealth. This is the secret that great spiritual masters, like myself, have sought to teach. True wealth isn't accumulated, it's experienced. And you, my friend, can begin to experience this true abundance now, regardless of what you have or lack in your material life. Therefore, instead of seeking more and more things, seek, yes, more and more inner peace. True spiritual prosperity begins when you recognize that, in essence, you are already all you need to be. The life you seek is not outside of you, but within you. This is true wealth, living in harmony with your own being and with the source that created everything. True prosperity comes from within and flows out into the world around you. If you're ready to discover the secrets of true prosperity and spiritual freedom, subscribe to our channel now. By subscribing, you'll take the first step toward a profound transformation in your life. Don't miss the chance to live in harmony with divine laws and manifest the abundance that is your birthright. Now that we've begun to understand true wealth, let's explore an essential concept: spiritual prosperity. Many think that prosperity means only material abundance. But, my dears, true prosperity begins in the heart and mind. It is reflected in inner peace and a connection with our divine essence. Spiritual prosperity doesn't refer to an accumulation of possessions or social status. It is the expression of the abundance that resides within us. When you are in tune with your true nature, you live in balance, regardless of external circumstances. When your mind is calm and your heart is open, prosperity flows naturally. But what is this true prosperity? It manifests itself in many ways. It is serenity of mind, genuine love for others, the ability to face difficulties with courage and patience. True prosperity is not something we can measure in material terms, but rather the quality of life we can experience when we live in harmony with divine laws. Spiritual prosperity is also reflected in our ability to love unconditionally, to be generous, to live selflessly, and to cultivate gratitude. It is knowing that, even amidst challenges, life has something to teach us. Spiritual prosperity is knowing that, instead of fighting the current, you learn to flow with it, accepting what life brings with confidence and serenity. And in doing so, you begin to see the world differently. You realize that abundance is not something you desperately need to seek, but something that is already within you. Every moment, every breath, is an opportunity to connect with the divine and the flow of life. Spiritual prosperity doesn't depend on anything external. It isn't granted by material wealth or social recognition. It is an expression of your true, divine nature, which reveals itself as you let go of illusions and connect with your inner power. My friends, when you begin to experience spiritual prosperity, you realize that true wealth lies not in what you have, but in who you are. The prosperity we seek isn't in the external world, but in the heart that connects with infinity. Remember this: when you find peace with your being, you become a channel of abundance, capable of receiving and sharing the blessings of the universe. Now, let's take a deeper step, my dears. True prosperity, both material and spiritual, begins to blossom when you connect with the divine power that resides within you. And how can we do this practically? The answer is Kriya Yoga. Kriya Yoga is an ancient, profoundly transformative technique revealed to human beings to accelerate the process of spiritual evolution. Kriya means action, and yoga means union. In other words, Kriya Yoga is the conscious action that allows us to unite our soul with the divine source. But what does this really mean? When you practice Kriya Yoga, you begin to master your breathing, calm your mind, and restore balance to your body. Through controlled breathing, you connect your vital energy to the cosmos. Each deep breath, each technique is a bridge that connects the human to the divine. And in this process, you free yourself from the limitations of mind and body. The practice of Kriya Yoga goes beyond a simple technique. It is a direct experience of contact with the divine. By silencing the mind and calming the waves of incessant thoughts, you begin to perceive the true peace and abundance that have always been within you. The transformation you seek is not something that occurs only on a physical or mental level, but at the deep level of the spirit. It's important to understand that Kriya Yoga is not a technique to be practiced occasionally, but an ongoing path of dedication and discipline. When you fully commit to the practice, it begins to transform not only your spirituality, but also your daily life. Over time, you begin to realize that the inner peace generated by practicing Kriya Yoga isn't limited to the moment of meditation. It begins to be reflected in your daily life. Stress and worries diminish, decisions become clearer, and you begin to act with calm confidence, knowing that you are aligned with the flow of divine life. And the most incredible thing is that, by practicing Kriya Yoga regularly, you begin to understand that spiritual and material prosperity are not opposites, but two sides of the same coin. By achieving a state of inner balance, you become a channel for the blessings of the universe to flow into your life. Opportunities begin to arise naturally, not because you are forcing them, but because you are aligned with the divine order. My friends, Kriya Yoga is not just a technique, but an open door to true transformation. By practicing it with devotion and discipline, you connect with the infinite and unleash the limitless potential within you. It is this connection with the source that brings you true prosperity. When you are able to silence your mind and tune into the divine, the universe begins to conspire in your favor. Now that we understand the importance of spiritual practice and Kriya Yoga, we must address a crucial aspect of the journey to prosperity: the mind. The human mind is a powerful tool, but it is also a source of challenges. It often prevents us from achieving true wealth and freedom. Therefore, if we want to manifest abundance, we must learn to master our mind. The mind is like a fertile field. If you plant seeds of fear, doubt, and scarcity, these thoughts will turn into bitter fruit. On the other hand, if you sow thoughts of abundance, gratitude, and faith, you will reap the fruits of true prosperity. When you allow your mind to be filled with fears and worries, it creates an energetic blockage that prevents abundance from flowing. It's as if you're telling the universe, "I'm not worthy of prosperity." But, my friends, the mind isn't an insurmountable obstacle. With training, it can be shaped and transformed. The practice of Kriya Yoga is fundamental to this transformation. By controlling your breathing and calming your mind, you begin to create a space of inner silence where thoughts of scarcity can no longer flourish. This space of peace allows thoughts of abundance and success to manifest naturally. Therefore, it's essential that you understand. Your mind has the power to create your reality. If you continue to harbor negative thoughts like I'm not capable, I don't deserve it, or wealth is for others, you'll be blocking the flow of abundance. But by replacing these limiting thoughts with affirmations of prosperity, you'll open a direct channel to success and fulfillment. There is immense power in repeating positive affirmations. They have the power to reprogram the mind and replace limiting beliefs with beliefs that allow the flow of prosperity. When you say to yourself, "I am prosperous," you are declaring to the universe that you are ready to receive divine abundance. By aligning your thoughts with the universal truth that you are part of an infinite source of abundance, you begin to realize that wealth is not something distant. It begins to manifest in your life as you become a magnet for that which you believe you deserve. When the mind is balanced, the reality around you begins to reflect this balance. Your actions become more centered, your choices more aligned with your purpose, and your life begins to fill with opportunities as you are vibrating at the frequency of prosperity. Dear friend, understand one essential thing. True wealth is not in accumulating external things, but in creating a mental and emotional state that allows abundance to flow naturally into your life. When you master your mind, when you choose to cultivate thoughts of prosperity, you are actually creating a field of abundance around you. Now, let's delve into a fundamental aspect of the journey to prosperity: manifesting abundance. Many seek wealth and success, but they fail to realize that true abundance isn't something you simply attract from the outside. It's already within you, waiting to be awakened. Through the practice of Kriya Yoga, you begin to open the channel that allows this inner abundance to manifest in the outer world. When you align your mind and intentions with the flow of divine energy, prosperity begins to manifest in unexpected and surprising ways. With the consistent practice of Kriya Yoga, you learn to silence external distractions and focus on your true essence. It is in this state of deep concentration and connection with the divine that true abundance begins to reveal itself. It's not something you have to force or seek outside of yourself. Abundance already resides within your being. When you enter this state of harmony and inner peace, you become a magnet for the blessings of the universe. You begin to realize that wealth isn't just found in material things, but in everything life has to offer: health, relationships, spiritual growth, and, of course, material prosperity as well. The key to manifesting this abundance lies in your ability to connect with this infinite source of energy through the practice of Kriya Yoga. When you align with the flow of life, prosperity isn't limited to what you possess, but spreads to all areas of your existence. By practicing Kriya Yoga, you begin to develop a new perception of reality. Difficulties become learning opportunities, and you see each challenge as a chance to grow and improve. You begin to attract into your life everything you need to achieve your goals, because you are vibrating at the frequency of prosperity. And the beauty of Kriya Yoga is that it allows you to activate your unlimited potential, allowing the flow of abundance to happen naturally. It's not about striving for or chasing wealth, but about being in tune with the energy of the universe. And by doing so, you begin to see that true prosperity is not a destination, but a continuous state of being. Dear friend, abundance is within you. The universe is not a place of scarcity. It is a limitless field of possibilities. By practicing Kriya Yoga with devotion and trust, you connect with this infinite source and begin to manifest the prosperous life you deserve. Now, let's reflect on one of the greatest obstacles to true prosperity: attachment. Many of us believe that to achieve true wealth, we need to possess more and more things, more and more material wealth. But what we really need is to learn to let go. Detachment doesn't mean renouncing the good things in life or rejecting the blessings the universe has to offer. It means not identifying with what we possess, but with who we are inside. True freedom, and consequently true prosperity, begins when you understand that your identity is not tied to what you have, but to who you are. Detachment is an act of liberation. It occurs when you realize that everything you possess, whether material goods or any other kind of wealth, is transitory. And when you understand that your true abundance comes from a source that doesn't depend on anything external, you begin to experience true spiritual freedom. The practice of Kriya Yoga, for example, helps us cultivate this detachment. When you learn to silence the mind, to calm incessant thoughts, you realize that attachment to material things is an illusion. This attachment keeps us prisoners of desires and fears, preventing us from experiencing the abundance that already resides within us. Instead of clinging to what is perishable, detachment teaches us to value what is eternal: peace, wisdom, love, and connection with the divine. When we practice detachment, we become more receptive to the infinite flow of life. The universe, which is limitless in its generosity, begins to offer us even more when we realize that we are not holding on tightly to anything, but rather flowing with life's possibilities. It is in this state of detachment, where we are not attached to outcomes, that true abundance manifests. When we seek prosperity not with desperation, but with trust in the process of life, abundance comes to us in ways we never imagined. This is the beauty of the law of abundance. It does not depend on constant effort or frantic accumulation. It depends on our ability to trust the flow of life and free ourselves from the need for control. When you let go, the universe begins to open doors and bring you what you need for your growth and prosperity. Therefore, my friends, true prosperity begins the moment you free yourself from the burden of attachment. By practicing detachment, you allow abundance to flow into your life with ease. There is no need to strive for it, for, as children of the divine, we are destined to receive all we need when we are ready for it. One of the greatest obstacles we face in our pursuit of prosperity is the fear of scarcity. Many people live their lives constantly fearing the lack of something: money, security, love, or even peace of mind. This fear of scarcity is a mental prison that limits our possibilities and prevents us from accessing the unlimited flow of abundance the universe offers. When you fear not having enough, you create a barrier between yourself and prosperity. The fear of scarcity generates a vibration of lack, and the universe, which responds to the energies we emit, reflects this lack of abundance. What you fear is precisely what you end up attracting. But, my friends, true wisdom comes from understanding that fear is an illusion. It stems from the belief that something is beyond our control, that life is limited, that there isn't enough for everyone. This is not true. The universe is infinite in its possibilities and abundance. The fear of scarcity arises when we forget our connection to this limitless source. When you practice Kriya Yoga, you begin to calm your mind and connect with the true essence of your soul. In a state of inner peace, the fear of scarcity begins to dissipate. You begin to realize that true abundance is always available, for you are part of a universal force that never runs dry. When you eliminate the fear of scarcity and replace it with trust in the divine flow, you create space for prosperity to manifest. This doesn't mean you become careless or lazy, but rather that you act with confidence, knowing that, regardless of external circumstances, you are always connected to the source. The fear of scarcity can only be overcome when you begin to realize that the universe is always taking care of you. When you trust that your needs will be met, that the flow of life will provide what you need. You release the energy of scarcity and begin to live in abundance. Prosperity, my friends, begins in the mind and heart. If you believe in abundance, it will begin to appear in extraordinary ways. Dear friend, the fear of scarcity is a mental creation, a story you tell yourself. By practicing faith in yourself and the wisdom of the universe, you dissolve this fear. The flow of abundance never stops, and you can align with it right now by deciding to trust the process of life. Now, let's explore one of the most powerful principles in manifesting abundance: gratitude. Often, we seek more and more things to feel complete, without realizing that we already have everything we need to be prosperous. Gratitude is what opens the door to this abundance that is already available to us. Gratitude, my friends, is a vibrational force that connects us directly with the divine flow. When you express gratitude, you recognize the abundance that already exists in your life, and this positive energy attracts more and more blessings. True abundance is not just about what you have, but about what you notice and value in the present moment. When you consistently practice gratitude, you change your perception of life. Instead of seeing scarcity, you begin to see abundance in everything around you. Every small blessing, every moment of peace, every positive interaction with others becomes a source of energy for the growth of prosperity. Gratitude has the power to reprogram your mind. Instead of focusing on lack and limitations, you begin to focus on what is already within your reach, and this changes the energy around you. When you recognize the abundance existing in your life, you become a magnet for more abundance. Practicing Kriya Yoga is an excellent way to cultivate gratitude. As you quiet your mind and connect with your inner self, you begin to notice all the blessings, small and large, that are already present in your life. Meditation and deep breathing also help calm your mind and open your heart to genuine gratitude. When you practice gratitude daily, your energy rises. You are no longer in a state of scarcity, but in a state of continuous abundance. Gratitude shifts your frequency, and by shifting your frequency, you attract to yourself everything you need to grow and thrive. My friends, gratitude is the key to unlocking the flow of abundance. When you recognize and appreciate the blessings already present in your life, you activate the law of abundance. Remember, the universe always responds to the energy you emit. When you emit gratitude, the universe responds with more reasons to be grateful. Now that we've discussed detachment, trust, and gratitude, there's one final fundamental principle we can't ignore: action. Many seek prosperity, but forget that manifesting any desire requires action. However, not just any action. Action must be aligned with your true intention and purpose, and that's where true magic happens. Action without intention is like a boat without an oar. You may be moving, but you don't know where you're going. On the other hand, action aligned with your divine intention creates a current of force that carries you toward prosperity and success. It's as if you are a channel for the blessings of the universe, as your actions are in harmony with your highest purpose. When you practice Kriya Yoga and meditate, you begin to hear the inner voice, the one that guides your actions consciously and aligned with your deepest being. This voice isn't loud but soft. It guides you clearly, showing you the next step, the path to follow. True action comes from the heart. It flows naturally from a calm mind and spirit. When you act with intention, you're not just accomplishing tasks, you're creating. You're building your reality with every thought, word, and action you take. It's important to understand that prosperity doesn't just appear because of your intention or meditation. It appears when you act according to what your soul desires. Action, then, is a reflection of the inner work you've done. When you align spiritually, the actions you take become powerful because they are in harmony with divine laws. This type of aligned action isn't forced, it's inspired. You feel an energy flowing through you because your actions aren't guided by fear or scarcity, but by the trust that the universe is with you. The movement flows like a dance with life, and you begin to see how opportunities arise with ease because you are open to receiving them. My friends, the secret to success is not in acting hastily, but in acting with wisdom and clarity. When you are in tune with your true essence, your actions become an extension of the divine. By acting with the pure intention of service and growth, you create a clear path to abundance. Now that we have explored the fundamental principles of prosperity, detachment, gratitude, action aligned with intention, and overcoming fear, it is time to reflect on the final state of this journey, the realization of true prosperity. When you begin to live these teachings in your life, you experience a profound transformation. Spiritual and material prosperity begin to manifest naturally and fluidly. True prosperity is not just about achieving material wealth. It is an expression of inner peace, of a life lived with purpose, of a peaceful mind that aligns with divine laws. When you connect with your true essence, abundance begins to flow, both in your spiritual life and in your achievements in the material world. You then realize that true abundance is not something that comes from outside, but something you create within yourself, and as you create this inner abundance, it begins to reflect in the outside world. Opportunities arise, relationships deepen, and peace becomes a constant in your life. When you become a channel of abundance, practicing detachment, gratitude, and action aligned with your true intention, the universe responds. The laws of prosperity begin to work in your favor, bringing you everything you need for your personal and spiritual fulfillment. And the great truth we must understand is that, as you connect with the flow of life, you begin to understand that spiritual and material prosperity are not opposites. They are two sides of the same coin. The more you align with your divine essence, the more you become capable of manifesting both inner peace and external riches. Spiritual prosperity is the foundation for material prosperity. When you experience love and peace from within, you begin to attract everything you need to live a full and abundant life. True prosperity is the union between the material and spiritual worlds, where both coexist harmoniously. Therefore, dear friend, the journey to true prosperity begins with self-knowledge and the practice of living according to universal laws. When you connect with the divine within and live with purpose and gratitude, you begin to manifest abundance in all forms in your life. Remember, my friends, true wealth is within you. By practicing these principles and living aligned with the divine flow, you begin to experience prosperity in all areas of your life. Abundance is your birthright, and the journey to its fulfillment begins with a simple step toward truth and connection with the divine. Now that you know the principles for achieving true prosperity, remember, the journey begins within you. If this video was helpful to you, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share it with those who also seek to transform their lives. Together, we can create a more prosperous and enlightened world. Namaste.